Good evening, afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is where you are right now. This is CloudChartist with your weekly Ichimoku wrap-up for the week ending September 9th. It is now Sunday night, September the 11th. I'm a little bit late starting this video, so the markets are already open. So I will be analyzing the last week's candle, not the new candle that has just opened. So keep that in mind. I might include some analysis on the new candle as well, but the main candle I'm looking at is last week's candle. So looking at the ES, let me zoom in a little bit. We see that we had been in this flagging sideways momentum pattern for a while. In fact, since July, we've been sort of flagging out. And then last Friday caused us to break below the Tenkan-sen, and we actually filled this gap here, you can see, and continued much lower and closed halfway between or slightly less than halfway between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. Overall, this chart is still bullish. Price action is above the cloud. Whenever price action is above the cloud, it's considered bullish in Ichimoku terms. Although it's slightly less bullish because it has lost the support of the Tenkan-sen, which is the most ultimate bullish scenario. So we are in a fast time frame downtrend at the moment, as although technically last week's candle was an outside candle because it did put in a higher high and a lower low. So we perhaps are in the midst of confirming a downtrend, but you never know. We'll see. In order for this trend to change, we would need to see a lot of price change to the upside. Otherwise, likely to occur maybe next week. So if we do see more selling, the most obvious downside target, besides this sideways horizontal level that we can see around here, there's a gap fill right here. So let's see, the gap fill on that is to the 2096.25 level. But the first horizontal level that we have is up here, and that is at the 2100 level, obvious psychological level as well. Then we have below that the Kijun-sen, which is flat, which is currently at 2086.50. So if we do get below those other horizontal levels, then 2086.50 would be my downside target for ES on the weekly. If we do get a reversal, if we get a strong reversal, I would be looking at resistance back at the Tenkan-sen at 2150.25. So keep those levels in mind. Let's go to the Russell. Russell's been very bullish uptrend, not very different from the flag that we've been getting in the ES, but we see that we got a trend change lower and a close underneath the Tenkan-sen here. So similar to the ES, it's still very bullish, but slightly less because of the close below the Tenkan-sen. We do have another element for potential support here, which is the Chikou. The Chikou is going to come down and have support at the top of the cloud at approximately, let's see, 1175.50, thereabouts. So that is a level of support if we do get more selling for the Russell. Otherwise, we do have this gap fill area right here, and that is at 1197. If we do continue lower, then the next obvious level of support in Ichimoku terms is the 1161.50 Kijun-sen below. We do have the flat cloud here. Flats in Ichimoku always tend to attract price, and the closer you get to a flat, the more attractive it becomes. All right, let's look at the Dow. Dow, similar to the other charts, more similar to the ES, was flagging sideways and then lost the Tenkan-sen. Still between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, so pretty much the same analysis as the other charts that I've gone through so far. Next stop lower here would probably be, it's actually the Kijun-sen's closer on this chart than the other charts at 17,792. So keep an eye on that level if we do get more selling, and then 18,263 to the upside if we do get a reversal back up higher. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ actually, let's see, I'm not sure. The close on the NASDAQ was 4665.75, and the Tenkan-sen was 10 points higher at 4677.63. I was trying I couldn't really tell if the NASDAQ closed under the Tenkan-sen, but I guess it actually did. So the NASDAQ is actually quite a bit higher above the Kijun-sen than other charts that we're looking at. So we have lots of levels in between here and the Kijun-sen to go on the NASDAQ. Also a flat cloud below currently on the NASDAQ. All right, let's look at some treasuries. The German Bund tanked like crazy last week after the EU announcement. I think it was after. Anyway, I watched the Bund every day, and I was shocked. I was really surprised at the level of bearishness that was going on there. So looking at ZB, the US 30-year, we see that we last week lost the support of the Kijun-sen that we had managed to hold the prior week, and proceeded lower. If we do proceed lower once more, we have the Chikou over here coming into possible support of the Tenkan-sen, and that is right around 164.12, I believe. 164.13, sorry. So if we do get more selling, 164.13 could offer support, and if not, we're looking at the cloud all the way down here at 162.24. Let's zoom out a little bit to see the overall scheme of things. Even if obviously ZB is still bullish, it's over the cloud, it has a lot of support of the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen, but the fact that it's still above the cloud means it's still bullish. In the overall scheme of this uptrend, we could easily pull back to the cloud and then continue higher. The cloud is very supportive for that type of action. If you want to be bullish on something, this is just the kind of cloud that you want to see. Let's look at the 10-year. Similar to the 30-year, we're actually way closer to the cloud here. The Chikou is currently tangling with the Tenkan-sen here, so that would be interesting to see if the Chikou holds the Tenkan-sen or loses the Tenkan-sen here on the 10-year. If it loses it, if it holds it, it's currently at 130, 170. So if it gets back above the Tenkan-sen, then it's got this flat Tenkan-sen support right at that 130, 175 level for the next couple weeks. So that would be interesting to see if it could hold back above there. If it does get back above there, it's going to come into resistance at the Kijun-sen, which is at 131, 140. Then we have the Tenkan-sen not too far above that. You see that the Tenkan-sen is pointing down and the Kijun-sen is pointing out. This kind of looks like a cat's head, doesn't it? This is offers the potential for a bear cross here. A bear cross in Ichimoku is when the Kijun-sen, which is the pink line, crosses over the Tenkan-sen, which is the blue line. All right, let's look at the dollar. Dollar is bouncing along underneath the cloud here, so technically bearish on the weekly time frame. Last week we saw a loss of the Tenkan-sen that we had managed to close just above, and a test below the Kijun-sen that offered some some support down here, and indeed ended up offering support on the closing basis, but not during the candle. So we closed sort of midway between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen last week. So we could come down and test the Kijun-sen once again at 94.75. If we do get a move to the upside for the dollar, then we are going to be in the potential of finding resistance at 95.835, which is the Tenkan-sen currently. Then a little bit higher, we have resistance for the Chikou, which is over here at the top of the cloud here. And that's at 95.94, 95.94.5. So definitely that area is going to show a bit of resistance, and then we'll have resistance above that also at the cloud, which is at about 96.56. Let's look at gold. Gold really looks sort of like it's making a triangle pattern here on the weekly. Something. This is just rough, of course, right? We are currently underneath the Tenkan-sen, although we're bullish in Ichimoku terms. Sometimes it's nice to. Sometimes I actually spot the triangle pattern in the actual Chikou. It's sort of easier to see that kind of thing. Little insider Ichimoku tip for you guys. So if we do get a move higher, I'm going to zoom in so it's easier to see, and I'm going to actually remove my drawings. If we do get a move higher, we're going to come into resistance at the Tenkan-sen above at 1339.90, so 1340. Keep an eye on that 1340 level. And then if we do continue low, we have been finding continual support at around 1323 area. We have an open body gap right here. You can probably see that it goes down to 1319.10 area. If we do lose this 13, let's call it the 1310 area, then we chances are likely that we'll come down and test the Kijun-sen below at 1289.50. But overall, gold is still bullish, of course. Let's look at silver. I've been posting some really good stuff on silver on Twitter. I'm sorry I haven't been on Twitter that much lately, but I have been throwing out a few things when I get a chance. And silver is one of those. So let me do the weekly analysis on silver first, and then I'll do some top-down shorter time frame levels on silver as well. So looking at silver on the weekly, we see that we traded far above the weekly Tenkan-sen last week, all the way up to a high of 20.23.5, and then we came back down and closed below the Tenkan-sen, between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. Looks like probably 38.2% from the Tenkan-sen to the Kijun-sen. If we do continue lower, which we see that we are continuing lower, we could come down and test this important level of 1838, which is an old fib that I have on the chart, but obviously kind of key. I'm not sure if it's exactly 1838. Let's see. Or we could come all the way down to test the $18 level. It's actually 18.005. Which is, sorry for the pause there, which is the Kijun-sen, which would offer potential support, but silver is still bullish. My cursor was frozen that whole time, so I was a little distracted by that. Silver is still bullish in Ichimoku terms as it is over the cloud, and does have a nice supportive rising cloud. So I'm going to scale down to the daily chart on silver here. Yeah, so on Tuesday, I mentioned on Twitter that silver looked like a good short, and that was at around midday on Tuesday when silver was trading at 20.05. After I made that call, silver went a bit higher, another 17 cents higher, and then has been selling ever since. It put in some tweezer tops here, obviously on the daily time frame, and put in after putting in a higher high, it put in it failed to put in a lower low on Wednesday's candle, but on Thursday's candle we did get confirmation of a trend change to the downside. And this candle I said I was expecting could possibly find support at the Kijun Sen at 1960, I tweeted, and it actually found support slightly higher. Let's see, the low was 1963, so it didn't quite get to the Kijun Sen, but that's close enough for me. And then silver continued to sell, lost support of the Kijun Sen inside the cloud, and lost the Tenkan Sen as well, and is still heading lower inside the cloud. So on the daily time frame, we could possibly look for support if we're just using Ichimoku stuff at the bottom of the cloud here, which is at 1852. 8, let's call it 1853. 1853 potential for support down here if we do get continued selling on silver. Let's look at even shorter time frame. Let's look at the 4-hour. This is how one goes about finding other shorter time frame levels by going through each time frame in Ichimoku, and you don't have to just use my time frames. There's lots of other time frames in between the ones that I'm using. So we see that on the 4-hour chart, silver has lost the 4-hour cloud and put in a close below, which is bearish. Came back up and tested the bottom of the 4-hour cloud and then is continuing lower. Could go all the way down to the bottom of the Chikou could come down and find support at the bottom of the 4-hour cloud down here at 18,745. So keep an eye on that let's call it 1875 level. We are at the moment oversold on the RSI on the 4-hour. Let's look at the 1-hour. 1-hour, we are looking quite extended to the downside. Ooh, look at that. I love it when it sells when I'm watching it so closely. So we are, this is actually, if I want to make things more obvious, I'll move to the 5-minute chart because it's real obvious. Bear flag breakdown, classic bear flag breakdown. And in Ichimoku terms, if you were short silver, you could have stayed short and looking for a lack of a close above the Tenkan Sen, and we see that there was one close above the Tenkan Sen here where you might have been cautious about staying short. Then this candle put in an obvious close below the Tenkan Sen, and now selling continues. So let's go back to, let's scroll out to the 15-minute chart, see if we see any support that we can, nothing, nothing. Let's go to the 30-minute time frame. Nothing looks like it should stop the bleeding at the moment. A clue to whether or not the silver is going to stop selling would be if the Tenkan Sen and the Kijun Sen change direction sideways. Right now they're pointing sharply down. We'll go back to the 5-minute chart. And when this kind of action is happening in silver, one can continue to expect continuation until one might see perhaps either the Kijun Sen or the Tenkan Sen, go flat. I don't trade on the shorter 1-minute time frame, but we could take a peek at that. Just that would be, see that just so I could show you an example of what happens, we see that the Tenkan-sen is starting to move, was starting to move, sorry I'm jiggling so much, was starting to move more horizontally. Anyway, so that's my little macro silver lesson for you guys. I'm going to end the video so you guys can get back to your lives, and I'm getting a little long-winded myself here. So thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video and you want to give me a thumbs up on YouTube, I appreciate that. And if you are interested in learning Ichimoku, I would be happy to talk to you about that. You can look at my website at cloudchartist.com, and if you want to contact me directly, you can contact me via cloudchartist@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter at cloudchartist. Have a great evening, day, week, and I'll see you next week for the next Ichimoku wrap-up. Peace.